Good afternoon, everyone. How is everybody doing? Yay, thank you. This is perfect. We have the most intimate group here, and we're really looking forward to you really being a part of the exchange with us. I am happy to introduce our student leader panel, and you see we have an amazing group that represent a diversity of experiences on our campus. So I'm really excited that you'll benefit from their experiences today, and myself. I learn every time we do these panels, I learn so much from this group. So a round of applause to them for taking time out of their Fridays to be here with us. Okay, y'all can cheer, yeah, there we go. So since it's a small group in the audience with us today, I am gonna expect y'all to function like you're 200 people. So whenever we need applause, we need it like, that kind of thing. Okay, my name is Traci Ray, and I currently serve as Associate Dean of Students for Student Engagement and Leadership here at Vanderbilt. And we really just want to kind of walk you through their experiences, and they are our stars today. So that said, we're going to get into it with all of our questions, and then if we move fast enough, it might be an opportunity for you all to ask questions that maybe perhaps we have not answered today. Does that sound good? Yay! Okay. So our first question. What did you expect of your out-of-the-classroom experience prior to arrival on campus your first year? And for each question, I'm going to ask roughly 3 of them to kind of take point on answering that question. We recognize there might be some that are juicier where all of them want to answer, so we'll try to accommodate that. So yes, Garrison.
All right, hey y'all, my name is Garrison. I'm a senior here. I'm an economics and history major. And what I was looking forward to was having an out-of-classroom experience that really rounded out my time at Vanderbilt. To me, I thought the relationships I built and the people I met, and also the things that I would accomplish that went beyond, writing essays or getting grades. That all was going to happen in my co-curricular activities. So I wanted an area where I could have fun. I wanted an area where I could also grow just in maybe some soft skills or my, different abilities outside of academia. And I wanted one that when I looked back, I thought most of my memories were going to be built outside of the classroom. So that's what I was really looking forward to.
Yes. Test.
Hello. Okay. Great. Okay. I would say that, introduce my name's Amaris, and I would say that two big things were research and something related to music extracurricularly. I came here really wanting to research African American vernacular English in some capacity and I did have an opportunity to do that, so I was really excited about that. It was something I was really passionate about. When I was choosing a school, I was looking at different language labs and psychology labs that existed, and I actually ended up accidentally or very randomly being put in an ebonics lab here. I didn't know it existed when I came here. I was just I guess I'll just do something generally in psychology, but then I ended up taking a class on language, and the teacher had a student who was doing an honors project researching African American vernacular English, and she was like, "Do you want to be in it?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then I also found the Melodors. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of them, but they're a really famous a cappella group. They were on the X Factor here, and they go to Vanderbilt. They're so wonderful, and so I really wanted to see them in person, and I wanted to start a band. I just felt like that's such a cool thing to do. You see it on television. They're like, "Yeah, my dad's college band. It was so cool." And I was like, I want that type of story. So yeah, and I almost started a band. We're gonna make it happen before I graduate. I had a couple performances by myself, but yeah.
You just let us know when you'll be playing, and we'll show up.
I will let you know. I will.
All right. Anybody else for that one? Yes.
Hello.
Yes.
Oh, hi. My name is Rhea. I'm studying MHS in psychology here. I can echo the research, especially as this is a really good research institution. But something that I was really excited about Nashville in particular was that I thought I would be so busy with all of the different things such a vibrant city has to offer. But as I found out, I barely have time to leave this campus with all the fun stuff that's going on here. You don't even have to really venture outside of campus to experience music, arts, culture, all kinds of amazing things that I thought that a city would offer me is actually what I get at Vanderbilt. So it's kind of like double the fun, and it's less walking for me.
Yes. Less steps. Okay, so before we go on to the next question, I want to do a quick hot pocket. So I'm going to ask Garrison, if you'll start us, your name and what city and state you're from. Like, where are you from? Let's do that.
All right, so I'm Garrison Clower, and I'm from Chattanooga, Tennessee.
My name's Madison Clark. My full name's Sarah Madison Clark, if we're wondering the discrepancy here. And I am from Jacksonville, Florida.
Is this on? Okay. Hey, y'all. My name's Kayla Anderson. I'm from Rock Hill, South Carolina.
Hi, everybody. My name's Anissa Utila, and I'm from Brooklyn, New York.
Hi, my name is Kendall Grubbs, and I'm from Atlanta, Georgia.
Hi. Okay. Hi, I'm Alberto Fernandez. I'm from the Bronx, New York.
Hello, my name is Rankin Jagger Lamoody, and I'm from St. Louis, Missouri.
Hi, my name's Amaris. I'm from Dallas, Texas.
Hello, everybody. My name is Caleb, and I'm from Boston, Massachusetts.
Hi, my name is Ria Cheney, and I'm from Carmel, Indiana.
Awesome. All right, thank you. We'll do some fun in-between question kind of moments so y'all can continue to build your understanding of where everybody's coming from and ideally where they're headed, if you can't already tell. Okay, so our next question. What do you recall as the beginning of your Vanderbilt engagement, and when did you know you belonged in this community? So what was the beginning? Yes, Madison.
So I would say I was really fortunate when I first came here. My college experience started in the middle of COVID, which was not particularly fortunate, but I was really lucky that I had made great friends on my freshman year floor, and they're still some of my very best friends to this day. But I will say the feeling of like truly belonging on campus came through the recruitment process and joining Greek life, which I would say is kind of, that can happen through Greek life, it can happen outside of Greek life, but for me I've been super involved in my Greek community, and having that group of like upperclassmen mentors, and then also getting to like be a mentor now to underclassmen, like the experience I've had in this community will really carry on for me long outside my experience at Vanderbilt.
So I think like a lot of people on campus find like their own engagement in like various different ways. My engagement actually kind of came like really spontaneously. I remember like the first day I was on campus, like our head of house, his name is Dr. Roosevelt Noble. He's like the leads like the Black Cultural Center here. He kind of told us the first like piece of advice is like, come here with like your mind as open as you possibly can leave it. And so that kind of like led to me like having like my most important engagement here. During freshman orientation, all the freshmen go through something known as Visions, which is kind of like the freshman orientation experience here. And I was really fortunate to be placed in a group where students in what is known as like the Next Steps program at Vanderbilt. So this is a program that serves students who have neuroatypical needs, conditions like Down syndrome or autism spectrum disorder, allows them to attend college. And some of those students were in my orientation group. And just by like coincidence, I was able to meet them and learn about the program, and that actually was what led to me getting involved in the Next Steps program here on campus, and that's been my biggest involvement. And like I know going into it, like Next Steps and like Next Steps Ambassadors is like a student organization that is traditionally like mostly like females who are like special education majors, and I'm like a biochem major who's like pre-med, which is like the exact opposite of that. But like I was willing to take that step going forward and kind of confront like a uncomfortable environment and get used to it, and it ended up turning into like one of my most cherished experiences here.
Awesome. Yes, Kendall.
Yeah, so my first experience of student engagement was being on my house's programming advisory council. I lived in Hank Ingram House my freshman year, and I was the president for it. And that was kind of the first place I felt like, oh, I have a leadership position here, and I had the ability to create programming events for weekly hangs. I liked spending time with the residents that lived there. I really enjoyed, we had a dance class on the lawn that's like on the Commons House lawn, so it was just me and the other HVAC members dancing in front of many watching first years, which was very embarrassing, but very team bonding. And I just really liked coming up with ideas for how to get people engaged. And I also think like the first time I really felt like Vanderbilt was the space for me was utilizing our cultural centers on campus. I think it's really great that Vanderbilt has invested in them and making them a home. That's what I really enjoy about them, is that they don't feel like a center. It feels like a lot of them are just repurposed home, and I love that comfy feeling of it. I went to the KCPC, which is the Casey Potter Center, which is our center for LGBT students. And a lot of the students working there were just so friendly. There was a TV, there were snacks, and it was just so inviting to be there and to make friends. And I really feel like those spaces in particular are the places where I was like, I feel like I'm a student here. I deserve to be here. People want me to be here because they're so inviting.
Yes. Thank you for that. Absolutely. All right, another. Anybody else for that one? Okay, then I'm going to ask you the next transition question, which down the line, where did you live your first year? Some of you already kind of naturally answered it.
Yeah, I transferred in during COVID, so I actually lived off campus my first year.
Good to know. So for those, hold on just a second, because for those of you out there who did transfer in, Garrison is super involved, so there's also a way to connect even with that as your first residence. Okay.
With another kind of spicy answer being that I came during COVID, Vanderbilt did this super fun, quirky thing where we lived in 2 residence halls our freshman year. So I started in Branscombe, which is traditionally sophomore dorms, and then I moved to Gillette on Commons my second semester.
I had the opposite experience. I started out my freshman year on Commons in Crawford, and then I moved to Branscombe my second semester.
Had nothing to do with COVID because I'm a junior. So I lived in East my freshman year. East is beast, and I loved it.
Yeah, I was also in the flip for COVID year. So first semester I was in Hank, and then next semester I was in Towers, which is no longer here, but it had a lot of charm.
Yes.
I was in Stanball my freshman year.
I also was in standby my freshman year. Really great community, and I thought all the people in there were great and fun to interact with.
I was also East House, Beast House, my first semester, and then my second semester, I also lived in Branscombe.
And I'm also a senior, so I lived in Sutherland to start, and then Towers. But I will say, Towers is my second favorite dorm room I've ever had.
Oh.
I know that's controversial, but it was cozy. Like, the space felt used, so.
Yes. A little cozy, comfortable, yes.
I also was in Sutherland and then moved to Branscombe.
Awesome. Okay, I think we also might have some alums in the audience. I know one because I overheard out in the hallway. Where did you live? Yell it out. Hey, all right. All right, any other alums out there? Okay, all right, cool. Okay, then we'll move on to the next question. Okay, so this question is, what are some memorable experiences you have had in your student engagement at Vanderbilt as a leader or as a participant, a mentee, a mentor? Choose whichever. Okay, I got Rhea. Okay, I got 3.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm having trouble turning this on and off. One of my favorite experiences as a student leader on this campus is when I was a VU Scepter and we had our first year move-in. We have an awesome move crew that's a bunch of second, third, and fourth year students, and you basically don't have to lift a finger right when you move in. And this morning is full of so much energy, and we're all a little bit caffeinated, a little bit sleepy, but mostly just super excited to be here. And it's just the most vibrant morning I've ever had. And to be able to see these first year students and they have no idea what's coming for them, but I'm so jealous of them because they have so much more time than my time is almost over. But it's just one of the most rewarding things to have participated in. Well, unfortunately I didn't, but if you did to participate in, and then be able to do that for someone else and know that they're coming into such a wonderful space on their first day. And as a mentee, one of the best things that I experienced was connecting with my ViewSceptor, and he ended up being my student ViewSceptor, and my faculty ViewSceptor is actually now my lab mentor. So that connection is something that has lasted me throughout all these years, and I'm so, so grateful for Vanderbilt for being able to help me with all these connections.
Yes. Yes, please. I suspect this one will be very popular. It's okay.
Just to add on to what Ria said, as seniors, well, when the seniors up here were first years, like we didn't have anybody move us in, but I think it's been really cool to see the fact that so many seniors, people who didn't have Move Crew when they were first years, basically came back and volunteered for Move Crew multiple times, and so like I think that really speaks to the kind of people that you see here, the fact that like so many people just are paying it forward even though they never had that like for themselves. So yeah, there's a lot of great people here.
There you go.
I would say one of the most memorable experiences I've had so far. So here I'm president of Vanderbilt Prison Project, and one of our initiatives is advocating for Vanderbilt to have a higher education and prison program. And through that, we were able to organize like an advocacy dinner or / informational dinner, co-sponsored with VSG. Shout out Kendall, yay! But it was like really, it was really illuminating for me, like being able to like go through the process of like identifying stakeholders, talking to people personally, figuring out how to navigate like planning, catering, things like that, and like being able to develop connections like with administration, professors, student leaders, and push them sort of towards the direction that I'm really passionate about. And yeah, I thought that was really, really interesting. And also, becoming a member of my sorority, Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated, has been really illuminating as well. I feel like I've really grown as a student leader. Like, we have a really smaller chapter, but we've been able to do a lot of really fun service events and organizing, and that has been really helpful for me, and just learning how to step up, even if you don't necessarily have all the support like that you may expect, I guess, from like, I don't know, having like a really large sisterhood. I'm able to rely really heavily on the people that I do have. And so, yeah, I've learned a lot about community as a leader as well.
Yes, to answer this question, I am president of our National Panhellenic Council here at Vanderbilt, and I also am vice president of our Black Cultural Center Ambassadors. And freshman year, I think one of the most memorable experiences as a mentor has been that feeling that everyone has as a freshman of, oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, am I doing this right? Who do I talk to? So those feelings were all very validated in our recent programming that I did along with our other ambassadors, where we had a What Would Seniors Do? And we just invited all of these freshmen to come, answer literally any question that they had about whatever it was. And it was just so amazing to see full circle their feelings be validated, because the Black Cultural Center was a place that I went to my freshman year, and people poured into me, answered all of my questions. It was a little different, a little wonky because of COVID, but this way we were able to have an actual program where we answered these questions and met them where they're at as a freshman. And it was amazing to hear the feedback that they had of, oh my gosh, like freshman year, especially as a Black student, can be kind of scary at a PWI. So for you to see me, see where I'm at, and be able to give your wisdom was really important. So that was an amazing full circle moment for me, that I was able to pour back into people in a space that poured into me. And then also as a president of the National Panhellenic Council, like Amaris said, we do have traditionally small chapters. So being able to lead small chapters, see how they grow, see how they work with one another, and be an actual change agent and making sure that we're building intentional community has just been amazing, and honestly one of the best memorable experiences that I've had.
Awesome. Yes, please. Garrison.
Yeah, so for me, I'm the president of an organization called Experience Vanderbilt, and what we do is we provide students with funding to participate in any extracurricular activity that they want to do. And my sophomore year, I had joined as a member at large. I had been there and going to meetings for all of 3 weeks, and then all the executives took a look at me and this one other member at large and said, okay, we're headed out, someone needs to be the president. And it was terrifying. And so I applied, I got it, and had to create a new board, and wasn't really sure how to go about doing this and forming a team, but I had my advisors to lean on. We got this board made, and our big goal was to get 50%. We needed seniors to donate to an initiative. And if we did that, we were going to get money for our org. It was going to be great. We just had to figure out how to get it done. It came down to the very end of the semester. We've been working hard. It was the final night. And I just remember the feeling as we're texting each other in a group chat, and one person's walking the halls trying to find seniors because they all like go into hiding. And we're like, who'd you find? Like, I got one more. I was like, ooh, I got one right over here. And so, but we're all like, but I took a step back and looked and saw how well we were all functioning together, and we were all trying to meet a goal. And not only that, we did meet it, and we were able to provide students with so many more scholarships because of that. So that's one I often think of.
Awesome. Yes. All right, anybody else for that one? Okay, so here is my juicy transition question for y'all. I'm really enjoying these in-between questions, by the way. I don't know if y'all can tell. Okay, so on an average week, how much time would you say you spend in your co-curricular? I know. On an average week, how much time do you spend on your co-curricular? I know when they see you trying to like, okay, I'm trying to. Yes. So she's adding that they're going to say what they're involved in, their primary things, because some of you are involved in a long list. So hit the primaries and then about how much time a week on average. Yes.
All right, so it starts with 3 weekly meetings for my 3 orgs, so that's 3 hours, and then all the extra stuff is probably an additional 8, so somewhere around 11.
I, at this point, as a senior, definitely spend a lot more time in my co-curriculars than my curriculars. I would say I'm Panhellenic president, and I spend somewhere between like 5 and 10 hours a week working on stuff for that. I'm also the member of a sorority, and now that I'm no longer on the executive board, I spend probably like 3 hours a week on stuff for that. And then I'm in Anchorthon, which is our version of Dance Marathon here, so we raise money for the Children's Miracle Network, somewhere between like 1 to 5 hours a week, and then in my research lab, minimum 12. So busy, but it's all very exciting.
I am president of the National Panhellenic Council, and there are at least 3 meetings a week for that. So 3 hours plus about 5 to 7 additional hours outside of that with our programming. So 10 there. I also hold multiple leadership positions in my chapter. So that's about, with our programming, we'll round up to about 10. So that's 20. Then I'm vice president of the Black Cultural Center Ambassadors. That's a light one, so like 5. And then I tutor. So that's about 4 or 5 hours a week, so real busy.
I'm president of Alpha Kappa Psi, which is a business fraternity here on campus. Then I'm also president of the Posse program, and then I'm one of the founders of Mixed Chicks, which is like a which is an organization to create community for multi-ethnic women. And I'm gonna be so honest, I have no idea. Like, it super varies every week. Like when we have rush for my business fraternity, like we have to pay a lot of mind to the people who are applying, and that takes up a lot of my time. But then there's some times where there's weeks they're just a little bit less. So I'm just gonna say 20. I'm also a tour guide.
So I am Vanderbilt Student Government vice president, and I have about 5 hours each week in standing meetings, and then it can go up to probably about 10 hours a week if I have to meet with specific people or different orgs or different offices on campus. And then I'm also the head resident for Village at Vanderbilt, which is kind of the used to be off-campus apartments that are near Commons, but are, because of COVID, became quarantine housing, which are now just regular housing. So I have weekly meetings for that for about 2 hours, and then when I'm on duty for about 12 to 24 hours, depending on the day. And then for fun, I do Vandy Radio and Vanderbilt satire paper, so those are about 2 hours in total.
So I'm a co-chair for the Vanderbilt Programming Board. Thank you. Yeah. And pretty much we just do, like my committee does a lot of like late night programming, like alcohol-free stuff. So we have like De-Stress Fest at the end of the year, that's huge. And like planning for that, definitely my hours would go up. I'd say right now I probably do like 4 or 5 for VPB. And then I'm also part of our Latin American Student Association here, and that's probably a little lighter, probably like 2-3 hours a week.
So I'm one of the co-presidents for Next Steps Ambassadors, so kind of overseeing that entire program and the student volunteers we have. So that takes like about 8 hours a week in like meeting with students, and all that. I'm also the president of Hip Hop Public Health, which is kind of an organization that uses hip hop music to educate kids about public health information. It takes like 4 or 5 hours a week. And I'm also campus policy chair for Active Minds, which is our mental health organization on campus. So we do a lot of really cool events throughout the year, kind of highlighting student mental health, which is about 2-3 hours as well. And I'm an RA.
I'm the historian for my chapter of my sorority. I spend a lot of time like doing flyers, doing networking, reaching out for different fundraising opportunities, stuff like that. And then just general programming. So I guess I will put that at like, I guess like 8 to 10 hours a week for that. Like I said, I also work in the language development lab here, and that's about 3 to 4 hours a week. And then I'm also on the Greek Mental Health Collaborative team. That's a couple hours a week. And then I'm also a resident of McGill, which is a living learning house here. It's a lot of community service oriented and creative arts oriented. And so especially around the time of like our monthly performances, which are coffee houses, and then our showcase, it tends to ramp up because I have to do like music production and stuff like that. And so then that's also a few more hours of time dedicated to like songwriting and stuff like that. And I'm a mother of my son, my stuffed animal. So yeah, I spend a lot of time taking care of him as well.
Okay, I don't know. My schedule's variable, so I'm not even going to try to put like hours to what I do, but I'll just speak a little bit about the kind of things I'm involved in. Like my favorite extracurricular is student government. I'm a committee chair, so shout out to Kendall. She's amazing. But yeah, so I'm involved with that, and that's just like a couple meetings a week, and then some work outside of that as well. I'm also on the leadership for Gift of Life, which is an international stem cell registry. So we go to a lot of like events on campus or Greek life chapters, and we try and add people to that registry. So really excited, or I really enjoy doing that. I'm also on the Frisbee team, so we have a few practices a week, and a couple weekends a semester we'll go out of town and we'll drive to like a tournament in neighboring states. And then I'm also involved in research in the medical center, so it varies, but the time definitely gets used.
Yeah, I'll have to echo what Caleb says. I don't know if I could really try to, maybe if I looked at my GCal, which I know is a very commonly used website for Vandy students. It's holding our lives together. I'm very involved with our Vanderbilt Programming Board. I'm the president of that this year, and my wonderful co-chairs like Alberto really helped keep me going with that. And I've been really, really involved with the South Asian Cultural Exchange in the past. And last year, I was our showcase chair and also the president, and so I was probably putting in around 10 to 15 hours a week, and that was a lot. But, you know, giving back to communities you care about is one of the most rewarding things you could do. But this year I'm trying to take it a little bit lighter. But inside the classroom, I am a learning assistant for physics, and that's been really cool to get to be engaged in a more academic sense as well outside of student organizations.
Absolutely. All right. So you can see the diversity of experiences and the balance in that, and hopefully that is helpful. Yes. All right. Well, I want the next question to come up. There we go. All right. Okay, so what resources have helped you explore and discover at Vanderbilt? And we'll focus on a couple. Yes, Caleb.
I'm not totally sure if this is what the question is looking for, but I think one of the most helpful things for me in my time at Vanderbilt has been talking to older students. And I've just been shocked time and time again at how helpful they've been and how much people go out of their way to give you information or meet with you or connect you with whoever. Like just to tell a short story, like I was trying to find a new research lab at one point, and I figured the best way to do that would be to try and connect with people who had been there and done that. But I was also really scared of imposing, and so I sent somebody a text who had graduated and just asked them asked them if I could ask a few questions, like over text, and they were like let's find a time to call, and they were so helpful, and they gave me names and just and they totally didn't have to do that, and that's happened multiple times with many things for myself and for many people up here, I'm sure. So, yeah.
Great example. Okay, yes, Anissa, and then.
I want to totally support the point you were making. I think the best thing to do is to look for the students who are older than you because they've been through it already. In AKSI and in Posse, I've been super lucky to have people who are older than me who have not only people who are older than me who are still in school, but alumni who reach back out. And when you are a freshman, taking advantage of those seniors who are there and talking to them and get to know them are extremely, extremely valuable, and they'll help you when the time comes when you're looking for jobs and stuff, and be there to review your resume and help you and connect you to whoever. Then I think another resource that's been super valuable for me is professors. Two come to mind, Danielle Valentine and Jeremy Payne, who have been so supportive for me, and the reason why I got to know them is through office hours. And I just went one time, and they were like, "Oh, Anissa, I'm so here for you." And I was like, "Why?" And then, but we ended up having this awesome relationship, and they offer to write recommendation letters for me when I don't even have things for them to write recommendation letters for. So, super valuable.
Great example. I think we had one more hand down on it. Okay. All right. Good comprehensive answers there. Okay, we're going to skip our transition question as I'm looking at the time. Okay, so what did you need most from your support network? That's your oh, they're ready for this one. Okay, who wants to go first? How about we just kind of go this way? Okay, Elise.
Okay, this
See,
question.
I appreciate that teamwork there.
Thank you. This question's so important to me. I think support is the only thing that helps a student go through the process of college. I'm the first person from my New York City public high school to come to Vanderbilt. And to say I was lost was an understatement. And support is so important, especially from family and parents. I'm involved with a lot of things on campus, and I think sometimes it's confusing for my parents. But sitting and listening and asking questions and seeing how you could help your child, I think is so important. And I really, really hope that you sort of take that when you talk to your children about their involvement in college and their involvement in their organizations.
Yes, yes. Madison.
So I definitely echo everything you said, and I also want to add that I'm extraordinarily close to my family, and I've been very fortunate that never once has their support for me wavered. But I think something that took my mom and I honestly until this year to figure out between the two of us is my mom is the type of person, she wants to solve my problems, which I think a lot of parents feel that way when your child is struggling. You know, when I'm struggling in Orgo and I'm crying and saying I don't know what to do, and she wants to sit there and she wants to fix it for me because no child or no parent wants to hear their child struggle. And it would be hard for me because I'd be talking to her and she would be trying to fix it, and that she can't. There's nothing she could do to fix the problem for me. But what she could do is she could tell me that she was proud of me and that she loved me no matter what. And that's what made the biggest difference for me. And so knowing that you don't have to solve your child's problem, but you have to support them through it entirely, I think is so important.
Love that one.
I want to add on to that. And saying that that your child has tried their best and the best is all that they can do is a huge thing to hear from parents.
Yes, Garrison.
So for me, at Vanderbilt, you're surrounded by students who are working hard, they're accomplishing great things. And so you can very quickly get lost in this need to perform and to do well and to not just succeed, but excel at everything. And so one of the biggest things that I have looked for in my support group, my areas of support, have just been fun people, like places where I can actually relax and like really enjoy and savor where I am and maybe put work down for a second. And so it's funny when I'm calling home. Sorry, I messed up your table.
It's okay.
Okay. But when I am calling home, I've called mom before, like about grades, like not getting what I want, being upset. I remember one time she was like, Garrison, if you have a B or a C on your transcript, it probably means you were doing something else a little more interesting. And I was like, okay. Like, so, yeah, being able to have those areas just to relax and enjoy where you are, too.
Absolutely. All right, anybody else for that one? Yes.
Okay, thanks. So I'm also very, very close to my mother, and I think one of the things that's been really nice to hear from parents, especially with all this pressure that we put on ourselves and with how high achieving this campus really is, which is a good thing. Sometimes it's nice to hear, like, you don't have to be the best at everything you do, especially when it's your first time doing it, and sometimes it takes a little while to find your ground, or it takes a little while to get to the top, and you don't even need to be at the top. And I think it's just a really nice reminder to ourselves that in a space where we're so driven to be the best that we can be, and I think it's something that kind of eases you a little bit, is that sometimes it's okay to just be where you are and you're doing your best, but you don't have to be the best.
Absolutely. The only thing I'm going to add, oh, yes. Emerus, yes.
I emphasize all of that, definitely. But I also do want to add that money has made a really big difference. Big shout out to Experience Vanderbilt,
Yes,
actually.
yes,
I'm not
yes.
going to lie. Huge shout out to them. In terms of like university resources, like I don't think I could have done any of the internships that I've done over the summer if I didn't have access to, like, so for example, I'm on the CURB scholarship here, and through the CURB scholarship, your junior year, they give you a grant to do whatever internship, unpaid internship, like supplement an unpaid internship your junior year. I know, like, through Immersion Vanderbilt, which you guys may learn about, really encourage your kids to get really involved with that because they offer lots of grant opportunities. Like Nichols Humanitarian Fund has funded my internship as well, Josie Davis. And I just feel like that's a really, really big deal in terms of accessibility. I also will say, like, I've also been fortunate enough to have parents who, parents and like family who will be like, oh, like, so for example, I live in Texas, I drive here. It's a 10-hour drive. That's a lot of gas money. So, like, sometimes for Christmas, they'll give me gas money. I really appreciate it. It's very, very helpful. I can, work obviously as well. But having that, like, that ability to also rely on university resources, organizations and stuff like that to help supplement that. Like, being a college student can be really, really expensive. Being involved can be really, really expensive. And there's a lot of barriers to access surrounding or based on finance. So, yeah.
Excellent point. All right, the one thing I'm going to add then to our parents and our support networks is continuing to create the space for your student to be honest with you. So the phone calls that they make where they have to give an uncomfortable truth, creating the space where they can continue to do that, which might mean managing expectations, managing reactions, things of that nature. We often see students really struggle with how they're going to share difficult news with their families. So the more you can create an open space for them to be able to do that, I think that would complement all the things that have been shared. All right, you guys are great. So we'll move on. That is not a good picture of me, y'all. I'm just going to tell you. Okay. I mean, I like that skirt, but it's a volumizer, not a minimizer. Okay, so is there anything that you would change that could have had a positive impact on your experience? So there's some you would change that would change your experience for the positive. Yes, I see a couple hands. Madison, we'll start with you.
I would say overall, I struggled initially when I was thinking about this question because I've had a really, really positive experience at Vanderbilt, and there's not a lot I would change. But I will say, and this is more like of an internal mindset change, is I think a lot of us who come to Vanderbilt are high achieving students, and we expect to get to keep being perfect, and that is not always a realistic goal. And so for me, sophomore year Orgo was it was the one class that no matter how hard I studied for it, I was not getting the grades I wanted to. And it was really hard initially because I was like, wow, I can't be perfect. And I have always figured out a way to like do the things I wanted to do and like be successful where I wanted to be. And so like coming to terms with the fact that like you don't have to be perfect all the time. And like honestly, like experiencing that has like done wonders for like my trajectory and like
Yeah.
self-identifying.
Wonderful point. Yes. Anissa.
To follow up with what you were saying, and then also what Garrison was saying of everyone being so accomplished here, everyone is so accomplished here, and you need to like tell yourself that it's okay if you fail, like, or fail isn't even the right word. If like something doesn't work out the way in your head that you think it would, like something better is gonna come along, and it's okay if you're down for a minute. Like life sort of comes in waves, and when it's low, like it's low, and a high will come around soon. And it's okay if you mess up or if something doesn't work out. Like, I put 110% of myself into pretty much everything that I do, and sometimes it doesn't work, and it's okay. I'll find something better next time. And it's important to remind your sort of students that, and tell everyone that as long as you're trying your best, that's the best you can do.
Beautiful message. Beautiful philosophy. Yes.
One more thing I wanted to add in terms of like a mindset change is like when you come to campus, it's really easy to like, since there's so many things going on, so many clubs, so many activities, so many experiences, it's good for a freshman student especially to try and delve into trying to do as much as they can. But as it gets later on in a student's experience, traditionally it gets to a point where you're like, I can't manage to do all these different things. And it's really important for students to recognize that they have limited amount of time. There's certain things that they're really passionate about, and being able to refine and identify what those things are that you want to focus on in your college experience is really important, because it's really easy sometimes to not pay attention to that and then get yourself overwhelmed. So being able to recognize what the most important things are and then focus on that after having the opportunity to try everything early on is the best piece of advice I could give.
Great one, Rincon.
Building off of that a little bit, I think one thing that I wish I could have done differently about my time in college is having like, I guess just more time in the beginning to like sample everything. And I think that was definitely a byproduct of COVID in a lot of ways. Like it made it hard to experience clubs in a way that like kids now get to. Sorry, I call like first years kids. That's a very like camp counselor thing of me. But anyways, like VPB, for instance, like as a junior, I was like, wait, that sounds super cool. Like I wish that I could have gotten involved in that. Or like Will Skills, this like outdoor club on campus. These things that like I just didn't really know existed when I was younger, and I wish I had the time to like try all of them. So yeah, if I could go back, I'd give myself infinite time, I guess.
That's a great one. Yes.
I think also as student leaders, we devote so much time and energy into the organizations that we are responsible for leading, and really being a part of that organization's success and it being able to function, that I think that it's sometimes can be difficult to join other organizations and just be members and just get to enjoy those things and not have to worry about, okay, this event is going well behind the scenes, or okay, I think we're running out of water bottles, I'm losing my mind. So I think it's just important, and I wish that I had taken more time over the past 3 years to just explore things, even if it's just one Zumba class at the rec. It's still one Zumba class at the rec, and it's fun. So that's something going into the rest of my time here that I'm trying to be more intentional about.
Good for you. Okay. So I think this is our last question. What advice would you and do you give to incoming students on how to engage at Vanderbilt? Yes, Kendall.
I think advice I would give is to, like, as everyone said here, to just try everything. And I think that a lot of people come into with the assumption that like there are a lot of barriers to like what you can do, and a lot of people get kind of like, oh, scared of doing an application, scared of like trying to go out, and it's like, if I fail, what happens next? What happens next? And it's like, it's okay to fail. Like, I think we have to be really comfortable at Vanderbilt in rejection, because if you're not comfortable in rejection, it's going to be terrible for you when internships come around, when jobs come around, and you're like taking it so personally, when it's just like there are 7,000 students here, 7,000 amazing students, 7,000 students who are scoring 34s and 36s on their ACT, and we're presidents of like 10 clubs in high school. And it's like if you're constantly thinking about like how can I be better, instead of thinking of like how can I shape Vanderbilt to fit what I can do and what I can be. I think that's really philosophy you have to have coming in, because it's like, I don't know, like if you got rejected, why do you want to be in a place that doesn't want you at the end of the day? And it's like, if you want to try again, I encourage trying again, and then maybe something changes that you get in. It's great. But I think especially not taking to heart rejections is so important for students, because it really stifles when they want to actually do things, feeling like I can only do things I know I'm going to do, I'm going to get into.
Excellent one. Yes, Garrison.
And this might be general advice too for just students going to college, but once you realize that, so going to college is scary. You don't really know. You know no one. You don't know how the system works. You don't even know what building you're in or where you're supposed to be. And so it can be nerve-wracking to go out and to explore. And for me, I guess my trick is always like, you don't have to be confident, just pretend you are, because a lot of people here are good at pretending. And so, and once you realize that you can, you don't have to be confident to go try it. You can just go do it. And even better, at Vandy, there are resources to help you get into that org, or I don't know, XYZ, whatever you're trying to do. There's resources for it. So fake it till you make it. Find the resources, help you get there, and at the end you'll look back and be happy you did it.
Mine is marrying y'all's two together almost. It's really just take that first step. You don't have to know what it's going to look like, how it's going to turn out, who's going to be there, who you're going to lean on. Just do one small thing. Take that one small step toward it. For me, I really think my entire college experience started with my first step into the BCC, and whatever that looks like for you, just take that small step. When you're in that space, fake it till you make it. Learn, or like have the idea in the back of your head that, okay, I might fall. This might be a complete disaster, but at the end of the day, you were courageous enough to go in there, take that first step. You know, along the way in that fall, you learned something about yourself. You learned something about the resources. You learned something about people who are falling with you. So I really just think that first step, and you'll take a step, one step at a time, until you get there, until you are confident enough to be like, oh, until you are a senior or junior, and you're like, okay, I can lead multiple clubs, and I know what I'm doing, because it started with that one tiny step of going into wherever, or talking to that one person, that kind of thing.
I know a lot of us keep sort of going on about join this, join that, join this, join that, which I obviously did, and everyone else up here obviously did, but I think something I don't believe in is FOMO, so the fear of missing out. And it's sometimes so important when, like, school sometimes becomes overwhelming, and life becomes overwhelming, and it's always so okay to, like, stay in for a night if that's what you want to do, or, like, you have a big test and you feel like you studied the most you can, but you want to stay in and watch Netflix instead of going to Commons with your friends for dinner. That's something you can do, and you shouldn't beat yourself up for it.
Excellent point.
There always will be another night.
Yes. Caleb.
I think Garrison touched on this a little bit, but I think like one thing that you learn pretty quickly when you come to Vanderbilt is that like everybody's really good at acting like they have their lives together, and we don't. But I think, yeah, like I don't know, like you may look at somebody and just like be just so impressed and think that they've got everything figured out, and like they probably haven't done laundry in like 2 weeks, or like maybe they haven't decorated their room and it's halfway through the semester, or that might just be me. But like, yeah, so like I don't know. I think realizing that though, once that kind of clicks, is very comforting, and that kind of takes the pressure off of you. So that's a big thing to kind of remind yourself of when you're transitioning to college.
Absolutely. Excellent point. All right, anybody else? Okay. Want to thank you all. I know some of you are headed to other opportunities on campus, but I want to make sure we focus our attention on thanking our panelists with a big round of applause. Remember, you're 200 people in here. Yeah, there we go. I thank you all so much. And for those of you in our audience, virtually and in person, we hope that you continue to enjoy the rest of the weekend, and that you gain so many wonderful nuggets of new knowledge while you're here with us. Thank you for joining us today. All right. Have a great Friday, everyone.